I've just had a birthday, and inevitably, I suppose, I've been looking back over my many decades and thinking what things have changed over that time. And one of the big things that's changed is how we take pictures. When I was about 7 or 8, I guess, I first took pictures using the family camera, which in those days was a box Brownie. Very simple camera. I think it was probably a wooden box fitted with a fixed focus lens on the front, a simple shutter mechanism. There may have been a very simple light and dark exposure. I can't remember exposure mechanism, but nothing much. And it used 120 roll film. Extremely simple. Of course, you had to take the film to the chemist to be developed and printed. And it was black and white pictures. I can remember taking this camera when I was, I think, 13 on my first trip out of the country, on a school trip to Germany. And we stayed with a German family near the city of Stuttgart. And I well remember the German family being highly amused at this very simple camera that I had. They were using SLR Leica cameras or something like that, real fancy cameras to me. And all I had was this extremely simple and very cheap, I guess, box Brownie camera. Over the years, I've used many other film cameras, 35mm, different types. But one of the things that's a sadness to me is that very few of the pictures I took over the years have survived. I've got a few slides from the 1980s, I think. Nothing much else at all. But all that changed in 1997 when I bought my first digital camera. It was an Olympus Camedia C1000L. And that camera changed the way I took pictures. Amazingly, it was, for its time, quite an advanced camera. And surprisingly again, I've still got it. And here it is. It's in a very colourful Colours of Benetton camera bag that I bought, I think from Currys in the 1990s. And this is it. Quite big. A large glass lens at the front, a flip-up flash gun, it uses 4 AA batteries for its power, records pictures on a smart media card, and this is the one that was provided with it. It was 4 MB smart media card. And that can take about 50 pictures in standard quality, about 20 pictures in high quality, and 6 pictures in super high quality, the different amounts of compression used. Has a small 1.8, I think it's 1.8 inch screen on the back, but that's not used for composing pictures. It's purely used just to check that you've got a picture at all, I suppose. It doesn't really show much detail. The actual pictures are taken with the visual viewfinder, which I think is an SLR type viewfinder. The other good thing about it is that it's got an optical zoom, 3:1 optical zoom, controlled by this knob here. But the surprising thing, and people perhaps hardly believe that these days, this quite expensive camera in 1997 only had 850 kilopixels, 0.85 megapixels on its detector. It's a progressive charge couple device, 850 kilopixel sensor in the thing. Anyway, it still works, and the other day I took it out for a walk along the canal and took a few pictures. I took some pictures with this, both zoomed and unzoomed, And I also compared them with pictures taken with my smartphone, which is, I don't know, it's got about 10 times as many pixels as this camera. So we'll see what they look like. So this is the first picture I took on my walk down in the centre of Leamington. It's the Arga factory on the right, with the fairly new students' accommodation building called the Union, which is appropriate because this is the Grand Union Canal. The smartphone I use is a Motorola Moto G6. It's got a 13 megapixel camera. And from the same position, this is the picture taken with the Olympus. The first thing you notice, of course, is that the Olympus doesn't have a widescreen format. It's, I think, 4:3 format. And the colour rendition is considerably different compared to the smartphone. This is taken with the SHQ setting on the Olympus. That's super high quality. Provides a file size of about 500K or so. Now let's enlarge the smartphone image, and there you can see a bit better the rather run-down factory. And the same sort of enlargement with the Olympus. Again, the colour rendition is quite a bit different compared to the smartphone. It looks a bit sort of more drab somehow. Now we concentrate on those 3 chimneys on the factory. That's with the smartphone enlarged yet again. And the same enlargement with the Olympus. You can see that the picture just seems to be blurred compared to the smartphone picture. Next picture with the smartphone, we're further down the canal near Bridge 37. Just beyond that bridge is the Fusilier pub. The bridge carries the Sydenham Drive over the canal. Just out of interest, at that position where I took this photograph, I could actually read with my spectacles on the bridge number on the side of the bridge abutment. And the same shot using the Olympus. Quite noticeable, the colour rendition is very much different, but not a bad shot. You wouldn't know probably from that it was only 0.85 megapixels. And then I zoomed in on the Olympus, ×3 optical zoom, still using the SHQ super high quality setting on the camera. If I enlarge that particular picture, you can just about read 37 as the bridge number. With the Olympus, I took a picture of these 2 swans preening themselves. That's with 3x zoom and SHQ setting. Further down the canal to the next bridge, and a general view with super high quality setting, no zoom. And from the same position, and SHQ setting ×3 zoom. Then I switch to high quality, and not much difference really. HQ setting gives a file size of somewhere between 120 and 150K typically. And this final picture I took on standard quality. You can see that it's a lot less distinct than the previous ones. File size is about 70K. And just to finish off this talk about the Olympus camera, these are some pictures I took in 1999 at the Royal International Air Tattoo at Fairford. This one is of an Antonov transport aircraft with people marching into it, massive aircraft, taken in high quality, so it's about 120K file size. This was also taken at Fairford at that RIAD in 1999. I think it's an American B-1 bomber arriving at Fairford, just landing. And obviously a big crowd watching as it comes into land. So despite the fact it's only 0.85 megapixels, it can produce some quite good pictures.